fortunate, or you guys have the unfortunate thing about I do a demo in January, and I've done it for a while, and I appreciate you guys coming out and visit me on this kind of a rainy day. My windshield was icing up on the way here. So we're going to do 2 demos pretty much on this. One, we're going to do a Jimmy Clues ogee bottom on this. So basically this platter right here showing an ogee corner right here. He has a real simple way of doing that. We're going to do a aniline dye, and then we're going to cut out the center. So the aniline dye is a way to bring out the grain in a platter. So this is curly maple. It has a black base, then a yellow, and then we put a red on top. Now, I had this thing, and I'm like really proud of this. And I have to say, this is when I think about Mo. And I was like bringing this over to Kine to show the boys, and then Roy over there goes, "Oh my Lord, George is right over there in the corner." And I'm like, wow, I get to show off my work to George. And this is where Mo comes in, because Mo buys all his wood turnings at Kmart, and Kmart closed. So I'm sitting there going over here showing George this, looking at the beautiful grain. George goes, "Did you buy that at Target?" Without saying anything more, we're going to start this puppy up. I'm not going to wear my mask for safety reasons, not for safety reasons, but basically so you can hear a little better. I do wear glasses right now. Normally, full mask, dust shield, the whole 9 yards. Don't forget safety. You know, it's good to see this many people out here. Everybody still has digits. Of course, I seen somebody with a wrapped up hand somewhere in here. I don't know if that was is that a lathe accident? Oh, good. So obviously it's still all right. And so remember, dust will wear you out. It's not good on the dust. Chips in your eyes don't help much. And if you turn for a while and you're sucking up dust for that long, at the end of the day, you feel like hell. So, big safety reasons. Spin your wood to make sure it's not hitting anything. I got the speed control all the way down to low. I start it up and slowly bring the speed up. That don't look good. How fast do we turn? We bring the speed up until I get a little rattle, and we're going to clean this up. One of the things that come in here, I'm using a big handle. I'm using a 40-40 grind. On this turn, I'm putting my weight on my right foot, swinging over to my left foot so the tool moves. My body constantly moves. Everybody commented that the handle was large. The larger the handle, the less the tool beats you up. Also, I'm going to start putting the recess so I can re-chuck it. Yes, sir.
Right now, are you using that woodworm screw?
Right now, it's jawed. I turned a spigot, recess. Beforehand, basically what I'm doing right here have this at the bottom of the bowl. I have this at a, my jaws are 45 or dovetailed. So I'm gonna cut a dovetail recess. Recess just like this so my jaws fit in. I'm gonna start with the foot of the base just to flatten that out. So I cut the recess in here. I set the next recess because this is the bottom of the platter. Also, if you notice, I didn't go over here and start rounding this platter because this will beat you to death. Why work harder than you have to? Other than it might pick up a little speed, but you can easily do a side cut and get what you want. So I see more and more people, you'll start and do a cut and you guys start over here and you do this kind of stuff where it beats you to death. I don't want to do that. I will take this tool. It's easier cutting your smooth part than it is trying to go all the way across that. Again, we turn off the lathe so we can make the cut. We're also practicing our movement. So we're here, I'm gonna weight left foot. To my right foot. Notice that my tool, everything swings. I'm running the bevel a little more. As I'm setting up, I'm starting to cut this. I'm getting a little chatter on this. I'm not really worried. I'm trying to hog out more than anything else. The jaws are loosening up. I didn't go deep enough on that recess. And being at the top, it really doesn't matter. Don't want to kill anybody. So I had to put a new recess in it because I kept it really shallow. And we're slightly off. So we're gonna have to square up a few things here first. Our platter's gonna be a little thinner. We have a little change in design. So if you see the serrated lines right here, that is the back of the gouge causing lines within the rubbing the bevel. Again, left foot. Right foot. Okay, so let's square this up just a little more. We're going to square up this recess just a little more. Pardon? I have bigger chucks. No, I do not. No, it would help a lot more. I decided not to put one on. My bad. So this time I'm still getting a little chatter, but I have 1 inch wood to play with. Now we're round. We're going to continue this radius here. So, I start thinking about design because George is here, and if I don't mention design, it isn't going to help much. So we have a rule of thirds. So here's, I'll clean up my foot a little bit here. So we're looking at this distance along here to here. So if we look at and divide that up into thirds, I'm here and I'm about here. Third, third, third. Might be off a little bit. It could be right about there. But you basically get the idea. So I'm almost on my bead right there where I want to be. But we also want to work on this rim and work that over here. So we're going to go a little deeper on our bead, our cove here. I'm making practice cuts now. Now, you don't see as many burn serrations in this, and you also see I get a little tear out right here. I'm changing the angle of the tool. If I sit there and approach this, and I keep this here, I can make that cove, but I'm gonna burn every end of this back right in here. So I'm actually changing the radius of the tool by dropping the handle, working this through, and then finishing my last cut here. So I start out at neutral, pick that up, I drop my handle, I change my cutting edge, which changes the radius of the cutter, bring it back down. And I'm still burning pretty good on the wood. But, man, that one piece of grain is being a little aggressive. So I want to make one finished cut on that. Size matters. If you're going to sit there and do a finished cut, why use the biggest tool you have? We want a finished final cut on this. Real nice. Cut those little angel hairs on there. Slow the speed down. So we set up our cove. We'll turn out right there. So now we need the bead. So this is real simple. We have this 1/3, 1/3. What do we have to do? We just have to make it a radius. So we dump it right in here. One more cut. Finish last word. And we bring it to 0. A little bit of chatter there, not bad. So we have our ogee shape. Except for that nice little flat spot right there. So why fight trying to keep that ogee shape going when you can be done that easily? Wow, I just tore up. Spot right there. A little bit of chatter. The larger jaws is all. Or a smaller platter. So a lot of people disagree with sandpaper. I'm not one of them. So I'm just gonna do a 150. Arbornet is one of our sponsors, Merca. I love Merca sanders. Power sanding on a lathe is killer, but remember, slow speeds, keep it around 200, 300. And you don't want to sit there and sand on this edge, you want to sit on the back edge. If we're going to do the die, I need to get this sanded really well. Take a look-see at it, and there's always those little spots on the end grain that you gotta turn in at a lower, slower speed. Again, look for the scratches. Nothing like power sanding. Bottom's done. Also, this sander set up that the vacuum runs like 5 minutes longer and get the rest of your dust. I've been playing with more of this base where it's just a smooth round over. Here?
There you go.
Okay, so you can see how the bottom is, just nice and smooth. So, George has a really nice recess on his. He likes it, but I'm literally just going to cut that off. So I'm not too concerned about it. And on this particular one, that's going to leave me a nice green base on that. Okay, so again on design, we want something our hand fits in, and look where our thumb is. So onto this particular one of Jimmy Clue's design here, I can't take claim for this design. If you notice, there's a place for my thumb to set. So when I'm holding this, my thumb fits into this little ridge right here. You know, it's the little things you don't think about, but it's there. So we're going to give this nice little radius, put a place for our thumb to feel in, and give it a nice surface here. So I'm thinking that I want it right around, I want to deal with about that much, maybe a little less. And if I look over here, I maybe should give it right to there so we don't make the bowl too heavy. Again, we start out slow, bring our speed up. This is running nice and true here. Our surface is out in face. We'll clean that up. We're getting a little vibration on the outside, but we're going to bring this down to about 1/8 inch here. And again, as you start to make these cuts, I'm not starting over here and trying to get to an 1/8 inch. I'm going to start setting the pattern way out here and bring the cut to it. So I'm working this. Little cuts. Working to that angle, feeling that happen. Again, right foot move, left foot move. going back to where I don't have a chatter. If you rub your bevel too much, guess what? Too much chatter. You pick up your speed too much on the tool. Too much chatter. Now I'm going to work out for that recess for the thumb. Now I'm going to undercut this afterwards, after I dye it. So I need that surface flat right there. If I raise it back up for the thumb, then all of a sudden when I make that cut, it's going to be protrude upwards, and you're going to have little chipping, especially with a curly grain. Clean it up. We're going to go back to the 150. There we go. Stand it slow. Oh, look at that radius I just put in there. Nice thing about this sander, and I'm not going to say that it's cheap, because it isn't, it's an expensive system, but I do solid surfaces and I need the sander. But if you notice, it isn't causing a very big cloud of dust, because it really picks up quite a bit of the dust. Okay, so you can tear it out right here. The thing about when you're going to dye this, if your surface isn't clean, it's definitely going to pick up a lot of the chips. I would tell you this, rubber gloves, Harbor Freight, they go a long way, because it's hard to explain to your wife as you're going out on this nice date why your fingers are purple. So I made these color samples and I sliced up the wood, and this is basically the corner pieces that I cut out from the scrap of the wood. Now, I think this is a soft maple, this is on hard maple. I'm hoping it doesn't change the colors all that much. So I made these samples because, not to throw Rick underneath the bus, but we've gone through here, and I can tell you that I have done this where you start dyeing this thing and all of a sudden you're like, I can't sand this enough to straighten out the color that I just ruined this at. So normally if I start playing, I'd play right here and start doing with that, but then all of a sudden you don't have any reference for the next time. So I took these corners and I cut them all up and I dyed them up and I wrote them on the back what I did. So hopefully this will turn out that way. So what happens is I'm starting out with a purple base. Now I'm using artesian dyes. So I'm going with a purple base on this, and I'm using full strength. And then we start dyeing this all up nice and purple.
Full strength, no dilution.
I'm using full strength, no dilution.
Nothing but the best of my fun.
You know what? What did you say? Somebody wanted vibrant colors, and they wonder why some of their vibrant colors aren't working because they added a bunch of alcohol to it and then dyed it out and diluted it. And then you're like, well, I didn't get that color that they showed. Well, this is why they're using that, showing you that color, is because they're using it full strength. They love it. Somebody just got a text message, just to let you know. I have that same charm on my alarm. Or is that my alarm?
Like yours. Did you never hear it?
I don't think I have an alarm on. No, not me. Not me. I'm just kind of singing here. This is kind of relaxing. Or is this like, at least he didn't play the Jeopardy theme, you know?
Is that the brand name of the dye, artesian dye?
Yes, it is. Now, there's Capsian, there's chestnut dyes, there's Nick Agar's dyes, whatever you feel like. I'm not.
You prefer alcohol-based dyes because of water-based?
I prefer alcohol because I can blend it easier. The alcohol doesn't raise the grain as much. And if you really want to blend, you put alcohol in a spritzer bottle and spray it on there, and it really starts soaking in. But then your bigger problem is it soaks in. And it starts, when you start doing your undercuts and stuff like that, all of a sudden you're really playing, it's in the grain deep. It was one of those undercut ones, I think it was the red one. The black dye that I used as a base bled all the way through the 3/16 on the end grain. So that went through quite a ways. So we hit the purple, looks beautiful. You could stop there if you like. But we're building layers right now. So I'm going to turn on this, and basically I'm going to get rid of everything I just put on. Dye is still a little wet. I'm sorry? I'm on 180. Just, aniline dye will bring out your scratches. So you really want to be playing with the 180. Bring that out. What's happening now is the grain gets highlighted. Here's a real good example right here. Now when there's no curl grain, guess what? It doesn't hit anything. So we're getting it in there. This is really nice there. This is a little light. Right in that one area. I prefer sanding with that is because when I start doing this, I'm going straight serration lines throughout the piece. So I gotta keep moving the sandpaper, and I'm eating sawdust right now, which isn't my favorite. Not bad.
Hey Tom, are those just plain thickness layers there on the front that we're seeing crossways? Is that like where at the bottom, where the dye got on this side, where the dye got a little heavy?
Right
Yeah,
here?
right there, and across the other
Well,
side.
it's a little heavy, but I don't really, it's fine. Mostly what I'm trying to do is get the dark areas where the soft wood is. Where the curl is harder, it's not, it's not holding as much. I just want to get this back just a little better. I can't hear you. Sorry, hang on for 1 second. Okay. I buy them through DSI. I buy them like 8 boxes at a time.
DSI.
Yeah, it's a distributor service. I'm sorry, you can't go there. George sells the stuff. Yeah, George sells, but you can buy it at Kind. You can buy it at Kind. So right here, if I follow my next thing, we're doing yellow. And again, I'm going full strength with the yellow. And here's some of the advantages that you can get. I start to look at you look and see what other people are doing. See, that really brings that out. If you want brown and brown, that's, you're there. You can start playing with the fact that, okay, I'm going to take a yellow streak there and there. And then all of a sudden you can change the color of the piece by putting variation stripes throughout everything. I'm not doing that today. One, I haven't played with it all that much, and then you look like an idiot because you just did that on your demo. It may might come out perfect, or it may just look like crap. But look what that did to that grain. That made it jump out. And if you notice that one section that was real heavy, all of a sudden that changed in here and blended in. So we got these colors in here, and all of a sudden that's not as bad as you thought what was happening on that. So in the color scheme, in the color wheel, I will tell you this, that purple and yellow makes brown. I only know that because I'm watching that happen right now. The black base works really well, and again, your base color, you want it primary dark. So black works really well. If you go to a deep red, it better be a real deep red. So I'm using this purple as a base to really make that contrast in there. And really highlights the curly grain. Now, do you have to have curly grain in there to dye this? No, you don't. But dye definitely brings out that color. So now I have this brown and yellow, and you can kind of see the grain in there. And our last one's going to be magenta. Now I'm not even going to sand this because the red and the magenta is going to go in there, but I'm also going to hit some spots kind of light with the magenta. Now, if you know what magenta is, it's just a deep red. And you can see if you start going through here with these streaks, you still get some of the yellow through. How are we looking so far?
You couldn't just start out with that color?
You can. You could just do one color. For this purpose of the demo, I'm doing 3 colors. If you look at one of the samples over here, it's just orange and black. I wanted a Halloween theme on it, and the orange and black were really good.
Is there any kind of general rules about if you're doing multiple layers, what colors to do first, like starting dark and working the layer?
I just did that backwards, didn't I?
Yeah, but you're kind of getting a different effect. So it kind of seems like, you know, you're starting with the dark purple, but then sanding it all off, and then going to a light color. So if you were to sand off the yellow, you would only have some yellow highlighted green, and it would be probably a different color red.
Correct.
So it's really just trial and error.
I played 12 times. This particular one right here, can you get on that one? Okay, this particular one right here, I went off of Jimmy's Clues. Okay, so this has a black base, black ox blood, and yellow on top. So black base, I took the ox blood with a paintbrush and highlighted the grain. So I streaked it, only hitting the grain area. And then when I went to the yellow, which is the lightest color on top, the black turned green and the ox blood turned orange. So is there a rule? It's all, the rule is look at your color wheel and know that yellow and red makes orange and go from there. Okay, so I have this nice red, purple dust everywhere.
So you don't have to wait between applications at all?
I'm sorry?
Do you have to wait between applications at all?
The alcohol works, the question is, do we have to wait between applications? As it goes through, especially when you're putting these coats on, yeah, I had to go through the sanding, and I'd wait a little longer than I did because it clogged the sandpaper like crazy. But, you have to, it helps blend, especially the alcohol base.
Have you ever tried flashing it off like does?
No, never tried it before in my life.
I don't know what difference it makes other than it gets the alcohol out of the
We could go through and use the flash it off with a match, but okay, alcohol evaporates pretty quickly, and the reason I'm doing this is we're going to hit it real quick with some sanding sealer, and you're going to see a lot of this stuff start blending in. But I don't want to sit there and have an alcohol base with a lacquer sanding sealer. It doesn't work real well. And this isn't my wife's hair dryer. So it'll be a little warmer right now. So Spray bombs like this has solids at 7%. When I spray there, it has 35% solids. You can't get 35% solids out of a spray nozzle. So to get that buildup, I gotta spray this 5 times. We're not gonna be doing that. Also, as this is rotating, I need to make sure I get full coverage. If I do this, I got a nice spiral. So I'm gonna hold it there until I get the full revolution around and finish that up. Also, where the edge grain is, and you can see I have some nice yellows in there, kind of picking up in there where so on our end grain, we're going to soak up a little more of what's going on. I love the smell of lacquer in the morning. You killing you, George? So again, I don't recommend drying it this fast, but you know, I don't think anybody wants to stay around here watching hair dry, you know, paint dry or anything like that.
How long would
So-
you normally wait though?
I'm sorry?
How long would you normally wait without the gun?
Well, it's lacquer, so 15 minutes. Depends how heavy you put it on. I still got a shiny spot here in the back, so there's a hot spot, a wet spot. On the show and tell table, Mike Nathel brought some of his colored pieces in there. And what happens is you start going through here and you have everything that's brown and round on that table, and then you have a colored piece in there and all of a sudden it jumps right up. So I'm not against natural wood color. I love everything and I love grain more than anything else. And I like to show it off the best way possible. But, you know, you can make colored dog bowls just as easy as you make wood dog bowls. So adding a little color doesn't hurt anything. And normally I use 360 to sand off the sanding sealer. That 180 might have been a mistake. Not bad. Okay, so we have this already dyed, everything's good. We have it sealed up. Now we're just going to cut out the center. So you can see how much off we're in the center here. Notice, what am I doing? I'm pressing in, rotating the body. I'm not moving my arm in here. I should use these one-way jaws, huh? Does not like you today, does it? So, we dyed this. Now we can make this nice clean cut and not worry about the dye bleeding through here. Why I'm not getting chatter there, doing those step cuts, is because I'm forcing the weight against the jaws themselves. If I'm doing this, I'm causing pressure outward, which causes that vibration. So I can make step cuts, keep the pressure against the jaws, and then come back and make a cut. Just for grins and giggles, I just like to know how thick I am. I know I wasn't close, but it's one of those things. Now I'm coming across in here and I'm measuring this, and I know I'm going to shrink the bottom foot about 1/4 of an inch because I don't like those the way that is, so I'm just going to go down about 1/4 inch more. I'm also looking at my cuts here. So the advantage is on these bottom bowl gouges, and I'm using 3/4, is if you notice when I'm doing the 40-40 gouge, I got to sit there and run that tool right here on that angle, and I can't, I'm fighting this distance here. So on this bottom bowl gouge, I'm approaching this but if you notice, the cut is awful clean. And I'm not way over here. I'm sitting here in this work. So, again, going back to Stuart Batty, as this comes in, I have the tool slightly askew this way. So it starts to cut on the lower part, and then this top shear right here is literally, so I'm on a slight angle. This is perfectly square right here. I'm skewed just a hair, so it misses the first cutter. The wood here is plowing off, basically just scraping it. And then this top wing right here is now working as a skew and skewing the wood clean. Now, does it take practice? I assume so. But I've been using this type of cutter on a different one that I have. So you really want to set this up. And then the other thing is too, I'm using a tool rest as a guide. My tool rest is parallel to this. So I'm setting up my cuts by sliding on that tool rest. If you put your tool rest slightly crooked, guess what? You have a crooked bottom. If you put it down on a slight angle, it will go down. This is a platter, so I'm just working it perfectly straight. So the tool rest also works the tool. But again, if I leave this perfectly square, it's going to start grabbing here. And it's going to grab that front, you're going to get this. It slightly works into this, lock it in. And this is again, going back to that nice big handle. How much pressure does it take for that handle to lift up? If I'm here and I get a snag, guess what? It's going to flaze me up. This takes 8 times the grab to do that. So watch the cutter, watch where the flakes are coming off. I have a little bit of a flat right there. And again, this is the same thing as the bowl gouge, the bottom bowl gouge. We got rid of a lot of our chatter. This one is going to so literally my cutting edge is only a 32nd. That means I gotta get this tool. Not gonna work out. Again, I need to change that radius. Look how dropped up my tool is. Still working the cutting edge, now I'm going to bring it back out, rotate the handle, right into my plane. Yes, sir. Can you see it on that one? So you can see that flat's only about, this one's only about a 16th. Yeah, I'm working a little more skew angle on this to do a more finished cut. You can see the flakes are, the wood chips are a little different. They're not being real aggressive. I'm also blending in that last cut. Again, tear-out's not our friend. And you can see tear-out is at a minimum. There's a little right in that grain. Question was if I was going to pull out a negative rake. Sandpaper's your friend. So, one of these little balls was really nice. Again, sandpaper's made to turn, straighten out a couple of the tool marks. It's not meant to remove too much wood. The problem is also that end grain comes in there. careful not to hit that corner when we have it all dyed. Then we'll have problems. We're getting just where that end grain is right there. Again, as long as something's moving, it can't create serrations in your wood. I'm going to finish up with some 180. $45 now. And then the sandpaper you gotta buy special.
What's the brand name again, Tommy?
Gulliver.
Gulliver?
Is it Guinevere. I can't talk today.
That's a sanding sealer?
This is sanding sealer. We're gonna put another coat of sanding sealer out here, just because.
What's the brand? Oh no.
Finisher's Edge. I buy this at a commercial store. You can't go there. Do you know if we have any like 360 sandpaper or some Scotch-Brite in the tool room?
I don't think so. There. You know what? Scotch-Brite?
Scotch-Brite. Because I really screwed this up with that 180 when I sanded off that sanding sealer. I know I did. But I'm not going to worry about it. Or do you think I should? What was that? No, Pete, you're the professional. I heard that from Ron, that you're the professional wood turner. You can see why I'm not. You can see why I'm not. I'm only here to entertain.
You've certainly done that.
Now, finishing on a wood lathe covered with sawdust, I'd expect a little schmutz in my finish. So, you know, take it for what you want. You may not want to, like, you know, blow this off a little bit. Be prepared. Do all that good stuff, because, you know, how good of a finish can you get? This is not my lathe, so I am just like taking care of that so the club doesn't have to go through all this stuff. This is lacquer. So
You can't go there.
Finisher's Edge. You know, they used to carry Mohawk and then they switched out. Wow, this is drying. This is a 30-35 sheen, which is pretty much, this is a 30-35 sheen. This was a 35 sheen, 30 sheen, and I did white diamond be-all system on it and then put wax on it. But I still kept the inside at the 30 sheen. So it gives you a different effect as you go to target. Okay, so a little wet on the finish on here because I got nice runs coming out of it. And a nice splatter in the center, I like that. Nice effect. It's one thing about spraying horizontal, you could really fill it in nice. So you spray using a spray bomb, you spray away from you because most people do this and come back, and guess what? All your overspray goes on the product, so you always spray away from you. And there's a lot of schmutz in there, but we're done. So you can see where the grain wasn't. You still have a nice contrast color in there. You can see the black edges. You got some yellow around the rims. And I don't have the purples in like I thought we were going to have. Yeah, the purple didn't come out. But you can see what the effect is. I'd put it on a vacuum chuck and turn off the back, and I'd leave it as a foot like this. More on this, you know, give you an idea what the finish is. Pardon?
That's really the only way you can do it, right, with a vacuum truck?
No, you can, I can put this between jaws and just put a pad right here and turn off the back using the tailstock. And then bring it down to a fine point to where all I have to do is sand it smooth. Yeah, vacuum chucks are very easy, but don't think there's 10 other ways to do this. Because if I came across in here and put a pad on this, set it up against here, ran the tailstock in, I have full access to there. And then all I do is sand the back. Yep, put a nice dent in there.
What about a Longworth chuck? Do those work?
Longworth.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, the claw chucks that go in?
Spinning chuck?
On the trans tints that I used to get from, and Rockler still sells them. They're a water base, alcohol base. Don't put them in the sun. And as a good rule, as anything, as you go through here, sun is going to kill the dyes. You know, I was going to bring one that I did with Jimmy Clues, but that would have been, right when I'm thinking 15 years, and it's faded. And it's never been in the sun.
Even with a lacquer on it?
These are heavy UV finishes that I have on here. It's still, I'm sorry, my flooring, my maple flooring in my house, if I lift up a rug, it's no longer that white maple. It's all yellow amber, and that's all UV coated finishes. UV resistant. So there is no guarantee that anything's going to stay, you know, archival as you go through here. But what they're selling now between the artisan, the chestnut, the Caspian, I guess it is, and Nick Agar, they really stress the fact of UV resistant. They didn't say, they didn't say UV totally resistant. It's just a little, it stays longer.
Okay, second question. How long does the Evernet last? How many bows do you get from one sheet of Evernet?
The question is, how long does the Evernet last? I don't push it as much as I should. So, you can get quite a bit, but I just keep going. And you gotta understand too, this particular sander, it's fully adjustable on speed. So the paper will last longer here versus that. So this goes from 1,000 RPM to 10,000 RPM. So at 10,000, the sandpaper doesn't last very long.
Whose sander is it?
That's a Merca sander. Mercus endorses our clubs, hands us a lot of stuff for the Wayne Art Center, and their sanders are fantastic. But that's a $450 sander. And then you throw on the vacuum cleaner, which is another $300, you have $700 into your sanding system. But it does not emit very much sawdust from you, so you can get it pretty clean. You know, and that application for dust collection is fantastic. As for your pocketbook, the lathe is still the cheapest part of your equipment.
Isn't that something?